Hello. Welcome to JavaScript Complete Beginners Tutorial Series. So what is array? An array is a special variable which can hold more than one values. So let's imagine that you have to define a list of fruits. So you can define it something like this. You will say const fruit1 equal to, let's say, mango, fruit2 equal to apple, 3 equal to banana, fruit4 equal to strawberry. Let me change the number from 1 to 4. Now to write name of 4 different fruits, we had to write 4 different lines, right? Wouldn't it be good if we had capability of defining all of these names using one variable in just one line? So we can solve this problem by using arrays. So to define an array, first we write keyword const, just like we do when we declare a variable. Then we can provide name of array, so I'll call it fruits. And then to define the value of array, we will give opening and closing square brackets, and inside the square brackets we will provide the value for each of the items of an array. So let me set first item equal to mango, second item equal to apple, third item equal to banana, and fourth item equal to strawberry. Now we don't need these 4 lines, so this is how we define an array. Let's log this array and see how does it look in the console. So I'll type console.log, and inside the parentheses I will give the name of the array. Let's save the file and open up the console. Now as you can see, we've got an array in the console, and if we click on this drop down list, we can see we've got all of our items in this array: mango, apple, banana, and strawberry. The numbers which I can see before each of the items are actually the index of array. So at index 0 of this array we have mango, and at index 1 of this array we have apple, at index 2 we have banana. In mathematics we start counting from 1, right? But this is not true in computer science world. Here we start counting from 0. So the first index is 0, second index is 1, and so on. You can also create an array and then provide its elements. So for example, let me declare another empty array. So I'll type const flowers, and I'll set it equal to an empty array. For that, I'll simply type opening and closing square brackets, and at the end of the line I'll put a semicolon. Now to set the value of array at index 1, we can write flower, and then within the square brackets we will type the index number, and then we can set it equal to any value. So I'll set it equal to rose, and at index 1 I'll store jasmine. Now let's log this flower array. So console.log, and within the parentheses of console.log I can log multiple variables at a time. So let me first type a string, and this string will say flower name, and then after comma I will write the name of the array which I want to log. So I'll type flower. Now if I save the file, you can see the first array is of fruits and the second array is of flowers, and before logging this flower array we've got the string flowers name. I should have put apostrophe over here. Now let's save. Now there's no typo. Okay, so what if we want to access any single item of an array? For that we can access that item using its index. So let's say from array fruits I want to log apple. So for that I will log the fruits array, but right after the name of the array within square brackets I will provide the index. So in this case the index number should be 1, because mango is at index 0 and apple is at index 1. Let's save the file, and you can see we've got apple logged into the console. If we wish, we can also update any item value of an array. So let's say that I want to replace apple with melon. How can we do that? First of all, let's delete all of these codes, and now I'll type fruits square bracket 1, and I'll set it equal to lemon. Now if I again log the fruits array, in place of apple we should see lemon. So I'll put fruits inside the parentheses. Let's save, and now as you can see at index 1 we have lemon instead of apple. Now let's talk about some of the properties and methods of an array. The real strength of JavaScript array are built-in array properties and methods. So let's say if we want to find out length of an array, how many items does the array contain? How can we find that? For that we have a built-in length property for each array in JavaScript. So to find the length of this fruits array, we can create another variable, and let me call it length, and I'll set it equal to fruits dot length. Now let's log the length, console.log. Let me comment out this log, and let's save the file. Now in the console we can see the length of the array, which is currently 4. So let's say we have a very long array and we want to know what is the last item of an array. So using this length property, we can find the last element of an array. So let's log the last item of fruits array. So I'll console.log, and inside the parentheses, I'll first provide the name of the array, fruits, and within the square bracket, I'll write fruits.length minus 1. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to access an item of fruits array, and instead of providing an index number within the square bracket, I'm first calculating what is the length of the fruits array, and then I'm just subtracting 1 from it. So whatever will be the length of this array minus 1 will be the index of the last item of this array. So before this, let me add the last item is, and after the double quotes of string, I'll put a comma to separate the string from the second parameter of this console.log function, and I'll save the file. Now as you can see, the last item is strawberry. So this is how you can access last item of an array. So far we have learned how to define an array. What if we already have defined an array and we just want to add an item in the existing array? How can we do that? For that, we have a push method for every array in JavaScript. So let's say I want to add another fruits name in this fruits array. For that, I'll write fruits.push. So inside the parenthesis of the push method, whatever argument I pass will be added to the fruits array. So I'll pass watermelon. Now log the fruits once again to cross check if the fruits array has been modified or not, or has been updated or not. So we will log the fruits array once again, and again I will provide a string so that we can recognize each of the logs, and I'll write what should I write here? The updated value or updated array. It should be updated array, right? Now after comma, I'll write fruits. Now let's save it. Now as you can see, in the array definition, I had defined only 4 fruits name, and because I pushed watermelon also in this array, we are getting watermelon at the end of this array. Now if you really want to make this knowledge your own, whatever I have taught you so far, then you should practice. So let me give you a challenge. I want you to define an array which will hold different country names. So you have to provide at least 5 country names. I want you to find length of your array and then log it. Then at last you have to add one more country name at the end of your array. And because I think this is a very easy one, I'm not going to tell you the solution. At this point in time, you should pause the video and try to complete the challenge. So go ahead, complete the challenge. So I'll move on. So up until now, if we had to access any one element from the array, we needed to provide index of that item, right? But it is quite difficult to process numbers with human brains. So to solve that problem, we have associative arrays, and in associative arrays, instead of index, we use strings. So let me show you how. So first I'll define an empty array. I'll type const person and I'll set it equal to an empty array. Now let's say I want to store a person's first name, last name, his age and date of birth, whatever related to that person in that. So I can do it something like this. So I'll write person, and within the square bracket, instead of writing index number, I'll put double quotes or single quotes, whatever you prefer, and then I'll write a string. So I'm going to store first name, so I'll write first name, and I'll set first name equal to frame. I'm going to use my information only, and again for last name I can write Sagar. Okay, I have made a mistake on line 22. Were you able to spot it? I did not put this word Prem inside double quotes, so it will throw an error if you do that. Now for age, I'll set it equal to, what is my age? I don't remember. Let's say 29. Sorry, 39. It's not 39. Okay, 29. Now let's log the person array and let's see how does it look in the console. Console.log person, and I'll comment out all of the codes written above. I'll select all of them, press Ctrl, then /. So let's save the file and open up the console because closed it. Now in the console we have an array. We've got this number 0. So let's first open up the drop down, and now as you can see, instead of numbers we have age or the string which we had written over here, and it is equal to 29. All of the other values of the arrays are also written in the similar manner. So if you want to store some human readable key and value pair in an array, you can use associative array. There's one more method of defining an array if you want to define it like an object. What are object? We haven't covered that, but since this is topic of array, so I want to show you this. So let's say I want to create an array of numbers, and to be very precise, I want to create an array of even numbers. So I'll call it even numbers, and instead of providing value within the square brackets, this time I'll write a keyword new, and then I'll write array. So first letter of array must be capital, and after this keyword array, I'll put a parenthesis. Now this line will create an empty array with name even number. If I also want to initialize its values, I can do that. So I'll write 2, then I'll separate each values with comma, then I'll write 4, 6, 8, and that's it. Now let's log it. I'll write a message even numbers, comma, I'll provide array name even numbers. Now let's log it, and in the console we can see we've got array of even number, and if I open up the drop down, we can see at 0 we have got 2, at 1 we have got 4, and so on. So this is also one method of defining an array. Now in real world scenario, many times it happens that we've got a variable and we are unable to figure it out that if it is just a simple variable or if it is an array. So how can we recognize that the given variable is an array? Now if you have seen my previous tutorial, then you might think that we can use type of function, right? You might think that we'll write something like this: const type equal to type of even numbers. Now let's log the type and let's see what do we get as a result. Let me comment out these lines. Now let's save the file. Now this log even numbers is being logged from line number 29, where we are logging all of the even numbers, but the log from line 32 is saying object, and it is saying object because array is also an object. So now as you can see, type of method is not that useful if you want to find out if a variable is an array or not. So solution to this problem is using isArray method. So I'll delete type of event numbers and I'll replace it with isArray method. So I'll type array dot isArray, and inside the parentheses I'll write name of the variable. So I'll write even numbers. Let's save the file, and now we are getting true. So this means isArray method of array returns a true or false value. So if the provided variable is an array, it will return true. If it is not an array, it will return false. Please check out the full playlist on YouTube if you are a new coder of JavaScript.